For me, the importance of local food is you are supporting your local community. You're supporting the environment by not, having gas and to truck it, plastic to cover it. You're eating crops that have been grown in the soils that are your community. It's also important to me that how they're grown. Like, I don't like to buy conventionally grown food if I can find organic or naturally grown foods locally. When my father farmed, he certainly wasn't an organic farmer. But as I got my degree in chemistry and had my backyard garden and then had children, putting the three together, they didn't seem to mix. Why am I putting these chemicals on my food? And so I became a backyard organic farmer in those years when I was a stay-at-home mom. So any thought of becoming a commercial farmer was just an expansion of that desire. I'm going to be eating this food too. I want it to be something I would want to eat. And so that was my value system, to have healthy food, not just food that tasted good, but healthy food. And so while you can do that without becoming certified organic, you can be a healthy farmer. When you're certified organic, the public can look at that, and that's a sign to them, a way for them to find you. But I do believe that things that are grown organically or using organic practices are healthier, and I think they're finding the data now to support it, that they have more of the micronutrients in it. If you think about a conventional crop where you're just putting NPK back on the soil, more than those nutrients are being taken off the soil. And if you do that year after year, you're depleting some of those minor nutrients if you're not putting them back. So an organic farmer is putting back organic matter, animal manures or compost and things that would have the micronutrients. So it makes sense that they're going to be healthier in the long run because it's not depleted soil. My connection with other growers was very helpful and very instrumental in the beginning because the CSA concept was new in Iowa. There was maybe one over in eastern Iowa, but none of us really knew much about it. And there were certain people that were instrumental in helping some of us to get together and talk about this. I met some people when I was in school at Iowa State, and there were other people that were networking, and so we kind of gathered together, us newbie growers interested in the CSA concept, and we helped each other, and we traveled together to go visit other CSA farms and go to conferences. And we started our own organization. That's where INCA got started, Iowa Network for Community Agriculture. Then eventually we learned about PFI and joined Practical Farmers of Iowa, and that was sort of a broadening and expansion. But that networking at the beginning was especially important for us who were just starting to do the new thing that nobody had ever heard of. And then you also need that support, I think, when you're having tough times. The CSA concept is a cooperative model, and I think we've broadened that among us different networking growers who are CSA growers, of having a cooperative model. We help each other out, we share information, we order things together to get better rates. As one of the experienced people, you still go to the conferences for networking because you'll never be the perfect farmer. There's always something to learn. But you don't need as much of the beginning experience or the beginning information anymore. And so some of the workshops, aren't as helpful as they used to be, but you need that there for the new people. And then they start coming to you for advice and help. And so you become kind of a mentor for other people. And Iowa State has facilitated that some, and PFI has facilitated that some. So some of us who are the beginning CSA growers have facilitated and given talks about CSAs to others and tried to help them the way we were helped by people that we traveled to other states to find that information from. I remember asking someone who owned a restaurant early on if they bought their food locally, and he said, "Oh yeah, we go down to Hy-Vee and get it." So his idea of shopping locally was to go to the local grocery store, which is a start. But this concept of feeding ourselves with food grown in Iowa was almost sadly enough, a foreign concept that has gotten away from us. I know Iowa used to grow a lot more of its own food before it got into the corn and soybeans. So we feel like we've been on the cutting edge of the local food movement here in Iowa, and it's been fun to watch it grow to where now just about everybody is jumping on the bandwagon, or at least seeing the merits and the value of it and how important it is to the community to keep the food in the community. It's not traveling long distances. It's been fun to see the Leopold Center and Rich Pirog do his studies relating to, food miles and all these different kinds of advantages to local food. I know my customers tell me that they're amazed at how long the lettuce and the spinach will keep in the refrigerator because they're used to the grocery store produce that doesn't keep very well once they purchase it. I mean, you can look at it in the grocery store and see that some of it already has the brown edges, and luckily they have a freshness date on it, but that only tells you it's still edible. You don't know when it left the farm. Whereas my customers are getting their food, generally it was picked that day or the day before, and so we try and take good post-harvest care of it so that it will continue to be well preserved and have the nutrients be good in it. Now, whether or not they can pick up their box in a timely manner and take care of it once they get it home is another thing, but it starts out being about as fresh as you can get it. Packing the boxes can be frenetic if we're short on time, but in general it's great fun to put all the items back into the boxes that the customers are going to receive. And of course you start out by putting up the boxes and sorting them by sites and get them organized and in place. And then of course you want to start out with the heavy crops on the bottom, so it's usually your onion crops or your squash crops and cucumbers and things like that, and you build up until you have the light things, the lettuces and tomatoes on top. Sometimes you have to make colorful decisions during the process, like, is this tomato good enough to go in the box? Would my customer rather have this tomato or no tomato at all? So sometimes, there might be a defect or something in a tomato, but you figure they want that tomato rather than having it tossed or put on the side or something. So lots of decisions are made during the process. And then we try and customize the boxes a little bit. So we know, who wants hot peppers today? Find those boxes, give them hot peppers. Or who doesn't want beets? Okay, go pull those beets out of so-and-so's box. They don't want beets, and give them to the people who want more. So it can be a little bit hectic. It has to be organized. We have lots of sheets that tell us who wants what. And of course, I always preface these customization things by telling my customers there may be days we're too busy to pay attention to that, but we try and make it a pretty and colorful box with things that they'll enjoy. And of course the berries always go on top, never inside the box, because people will pick up the box and carry it and the berries will leave a trail behind.